10 shots, not one, not two, 10. That is not a crime of passion. That is not somebody who snapped in the moment. That is a man who woke up that morning, got on his bicycle, rode to her house, and made a decision. A calculated, cold, final decision. And here is the part that will sit with you. You know, she saw it coming. She posted about it. She called the police. She got the restraining order. She did everything she was supposed to do, and none of it saved her. This is the story of Mariah Samuels, a 34-year-old mother of two from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And by the time this video is over, you are going to feel every emotion. Because this story is not just about what one man did. It is about everything that was supposed to stop him and didn't. Minneapolis gets painted with a lot of brushes. The city of lakes, the cultural hub of the Midwest, parks, music, community. But anybody who lives there or knows the city knows there is another side to that postcard. Violent crime there sits at about 1 in 86, far above the national average. And behind those numbers are real people, real families, real losses. Mariah Samuels was one of those real people. By all accounts, Mariah was the kind of woman who lit up a room. Her family described her as vibrant, loving, mature. She minded her business, moved with grace, and poured herself into her two children. She worked as a dog groomer, not glamorous, but honest. And she showed up for it, and when her birthday came around, she celebrated it the right way, surrounded by her kids and her people. That was Mariah, solid, present, real. Now let me tell you about the man who entered her life. David Eugene Wright. Around 50 years old, and the first thing you need to know about David is that he had just come home from a long prison sentence when Mariah met him. He was posting about prison life on his social media, not hiding it, not ashamed of it. It was right there for anyone paying attention, and Mariah was paying attention. She saw the flags. Her people probably saw them too. But love, or the beginning of something that feels like it, has a way of making people extend grace they wouldn't otherwise extend. So she gave him a chance. For a while, things looked good on the surface. They were affectionate, they were open about each other on social media, the kind of couple that posts for the timeline. Cute, right? Like, yeah. For a minute, but that minute did not last long. The moment David started showing his real self, things shifted fast. He became possessive in a way that went beyond jealousy. He was controlling, territorial, the kind of man who had decided in his own head that Mariah belonged to him and that she did not have the right to change that. When she tried to pull back, he pulled harder. When she tried to leave, he made it clear that leaving was not something she was going to do, not on his watch. Anyways, it was not long before the situation went from emotionally suffocating to physically dangerous. He put his hands on her, struck her, pushed her, grabbed her by the neck, and at one point he threatened her with a gun. She posted about it publicly, and she did not sugarcoat it. She wrote, "The night before last, I got threatened with a gun and hands put on me because I wanted to break up. My spirit is broken, but that's temporary. But y'all be safe out there, though. Have a great Saturday." That post alone, read it again. Her spirit was broken, but she still told her people to have a great Saturday. That is the kind of woman Mariah was, even in her worst moments. She posted again, and this time, she had something to say directly. "I can't stand a human being who can't take accountability for the fuck-up actions. Hit, punch, slap, push, shove, what you want to call it. No man can call themselves a man after putting their hands on a woman physically in any shape or form. Replace the word man with coward. Or should I say he is just illiterate in real life. Now, that's a damn shame." She said what she said, and she meant every word of it. She officially ended the relationship on August 21st, and then she went and got a protective order, a legal document telling David Wright to stay away from her. Oh, so now you would think that would be the end of it, right? Paper trail, legal protection, official record. David did not care about any of that. He kept posting, he kept showing up. He swung between begging and threatening like a pendulum that could not find its center. He sent her a string of messages, first apologizing, telling her he still had birthday gifts for her, that he loved her, that he would regret what he did for the rest of his life. Then when she did not respond because she was done, he flipped. He called her out of her name, accused her of being with another man. The sweet talk was gone, the rage was back, and then came the stalking. He was outside her house in the middle of the night. We are talking 4 in the morning, watching, lurking, making sure she knew he was there. Mariah called the police. She filed reports. She did everything the system told her to do. And what did she get in return? A protective order that David Wright treated like it was nothing. She posted one final time, and this one hits different knowing what happened next. She wrote, "I was trying to stay silent, but stalking me at 4 in the morning, and the police ain't doing anything besides serve him with a protective order, and clearly it's not doing anything." She was frustrated, she was exhausted, she was screaming into the void, and the void was not screaming back. Moving on, because what happened next is where this story becomes impossible to sit with. Sunday morning, September 14th, 2025. Around 8 a.m., Mariah stepped outside her home near Russell Avenue North and 14th Avenue in Minneapolis. Maybe she was heading somewhere, maybe she just needed air. We do not know exactly what she was thinking in that moment. What we do know is that David Wright was already there. He came on a bicycle. He rolled up to her house like he had every right to be there. And the moment Mariah saw him, or maybe before she even had the chance to register what was happening, he opened fire. She tried to get to her car. She tried to get away. She was fighting to survive. He shot her 10 times. 15 rounds fired in total in front of her own home. Mariah Samuels was pronounced dead at the scene. He then got back on that bicycle and rode away. Girl, the coldness of that, the absolute coldness of that. He rode away. When police arrived at the scene on Russell Avenue North, David Wright was already gone. Neighbors had heard the shots. Family would soon hear the news. And Minneapolis police were left with a crime scene. A victim who had done everything right, and a suspect who had simply rode off. But here is what the investigators did have: a paper trail that Mariah herself had built. The restraining order, the police reports, the 911 calls, her social media posts laying out exactly who was threatening her and exactly what he had been doing. She had handed the system a roadmap multiple times over multiple weeks. And let me tell you something, that roadmap is exactly what led them straight to David Wright within 24 hours. He did not make it far. Police tracked him down and arrested him in Anoka, a city just north of Minneapolis. Less than a day after he shot Mariah 10 times in front of her home, he was in handcuffs. Make it make sense that it took her death for the system to move that fast. Because when Mariah was alive and calling for help, filing reports, getting orders, posting publicly that a man was outside her house at 4 in the morning, the response she got was a protective order that did absolutely nothing to protect her. Her final post said it plainly. The police were serving him papers. That was it. No investigator assigned to follow up on her. Assault report. No deeper look into the pattern of behavior David had been showing. Just paperwork. Her family did not hold back about that. Her aunt, Carolyn Brooks, stood in front of cameras and said what the whole family was feeling. That this was preventable. That Mariah had done everything she was supposed to do. That the system failed her at every turn. And the Minneapolis Police Department's own chief had to acknowledge it. A review was ordered into how MPD handled Mariah's domestic violence reports. Because the gaps were impossible to ignore, a woman had reported being physically assaulted, threatened with a gun, stalked at all hours of the night, and not a single investigator had been assigned to her case. Not one. Anyways, David Wright was in custody, and now came the question of what he would actually be charged with. David Wright was initially charged with second-degree murder and illegal possession of a firearm, but prosecutors were not done, as they dug deeper into the full picture. The assault, the threats, the stalking, the documented pattern of abuse that Mariah had reported. The charges were upgraded. By late November, Wright was facing first-degree premeditated murder, the kind of charge that says this was not impulsive, this was planned. A Hennepin County grand jury agreed. They indicted him on first-degree murder counts in December 2025. He remained behind bars on a bail set at $1 million. In court, the case against him was not built on mystery. It was built on everything Mariah had already told the world. Her posts, her reports, her messages, her warnings. The receipts were already there. She had left them herself. The prosecution's argument was straightforward. This man had a documented history of violence against this woman. She had tried to leave. She had sought protection, and he had hunted her down anyway.
The family of Mariah Samuels, a domestic violence victim shot dead hours after police had come to her home, spoke tonight to our Lou Ragoose.
I am absolutely ecstatic that he is now facing first-degree murder charges. He deserves that.
The family of Mariah Samuels gathered outside the Hennepin County Government Center with mixed emotions.
It's a bittersweet moment because this is what it should have been from the get-go.
They are pleased the charges against David Wright have been upgraded to first-degree murder, but sad and frustrated that Mariah's death was not prevented.
The steps that were taken should have resulted in an arrest. It should have resulted in a warrant. It should have resulted in David not coming out of jail for the rest of his life.
On the morning of September 14th, Mariah's last post on Facebook, she vented about Wright stalking her and police doing nothing but serving him with an order for protection. 5 minutes after that post, court papers say Wright fired 12 shots at Mariah, killing her by her front door. The amended criminal complaint adds several details about Wright's abusive past, including slamming the door on Mariah, pistol whipping her, threatening her, including saying someone's going to die tonight. And it lays out his control and jealousy, as well as an implicit confession, allegedly telling police if they review text messages between him and Mariah, they'd understand why he did this.
It's sad because Mariah did everything she should have to be protected.
Mariah did file an order for protection, and she did call police. Now her family wants to make sure future women in her position will be taken more seriously.
That is premeditation. That is not a man who lost control. That is a man who made a choice. Mariah Samuels was 34 years old. She had 2 children who called her mom. She had a family that loved her. She had a community that saw her, knew her, celebrated her birthday with her just weeks before she was taken. And she had a voice, a loud, clear, documented voice that told everyone around her exactly what was happening and exactly who was doing it. That voice did not fail her. The systems that were supposed to hear it did. Her aunt stood in front of those cameras and delivered words that should not be easy to forget. She said Mariah was the 4th woman in their family to be murdered by someone who claimed to love her. The 4th, not the 1st, not a tragic anomaly. The 4th time this family buried a woman at the hands of a man who said, "I love you," with the same mouth he used to threaten her life. Let that land. Her sister Simone spoke too, and the family's message was not just grief, it was a demand. Believe the red flags. Do not underestimate what a man is capable of when he feels like he is losing control over someone. Do not convince yourself it will not go that far, because for Mariah, it went all the way. The family also pushed for something bigger than just one arrest. They called for more resources for domestic violence victims. They called for better training for officers responding to these reports. They called for a system that actually follows up, that assigns investigators, that treats a woman saying, "He hit me and threatened me with a gun," like the emergency that it is. Because here is the reality. A protective order is a piece of paper. It tells a dangerous man what he is not supposed to do. It does not physically stand between him and his victim at 4 a.m. It does not ride with her to her car on a Sunday morning. It does not stop bullets. What could have stopped this was a system that took her seriously while she was still alive. Moving on, because Mariah's children are still here. 2 kids who now have to grow up carrying the weight of what happened to their mother. A fundraiser was set up to support them through that transition because the financial reality of losing a parent is real, and those children deserve every bit of help they can get. And David Wright, he is sitting in a cell on $1 million bail, facing first-degree premeditated murder charges. A grand jury already looked at the evidence and said, yes, this was planned, this was intentional, this was not love gone wrong. This was a man who decided that if he could not have her, nobody would. But hey, let us not let this story end on just him. Because Mariah is not defined by how she died. She is defined by who she was. The woman who still told her people to have a great Saturday, even when her spirit was broken. The mother who showed up for her kids. The woman who refused to stay silent even when staying silent might have felt safer. She spoke, loudly, repeatedly, publicly, and we owe it to her to keep speaking too. Rest easy, Mariah.